Hello everyone, this is Gorax and today I'm going to present to you a new Ice Blast team in Season 2. Those of you who are interested in seeing what heroes are going to be released and their skill set as well, because we know there were a few changes compared to the previous version of the game. This is the video perfect for you. You can predict, and obviously some veteran players already have those heroes, so you can see what they'll do. So first things first, let's talk about the Ice Blast. So Ice Blast heroes do not auto attack if you can keep ice crystals on them, and I'll explain that later. But the ice crystals stack up to 5 and will grant an additional effect to the battle skill of them. Now with this bonus, with having 3 Ice Blast heroes for the first 5 minutes of the battle, the rate of Ice Blast heroes triggering critical hits with basic attacks and skills is increased by 30%. So we will have for the first 5 minutes of the battle an extra 30% crit rate. This is a very powerful buff at early stages of the game. However, when we get to heroes, the Ice Blast hero skill triggers a crit when they triggers a crit. There's a 10% chance to gain 1 crystal. With 3, it's 20% chance to gain 1 crystal. If we're building them with crit rate, and we will, we are looking at quite a bit of crystals. Previously, you had to have this hero, Shina, to be able to provide the team with enough ice crystals. But before we go over her skills, let's have a look at the exclusive hero Beldelle and her exclusive artifact. So Beldelle is amazing because she grants all allies or 25% attack aura in all battles. If she has an ice crystal, after casting a battle skill, she will consume 1 stack of that crystal and cast the skill again, which is the battle skill. This is why if you can keep 5 crystals constantly, you will never do a basic attack. So we will be casting the skills constantly, which makes everything so powerful. At over 3 stacks of ice crystal converts 300% of excess crit rate into crit damage. So that's a lot. Plus we'll get a lot of buffs to our crit rate through other means, and I'll tell you which ones. So that was the Frost Favor. Now Runaway Storm is her battle skill. This will be the main source of damage. It will deal attack damage to enemy, ignoring their shield and increasing damage dealt by 50% against the shielded enemy. So if the enemy has any kind of shield, she will do even more damage. Afterwards, the hero gains crit damage up for 5 seconds up to 5 stacks. Crit damage up is 30%. If we can stack it 5 times, that's 150% crit damage up. That's super powerful, and wow, that's super powerful, because remember, excess crit rate will go into crit damage as well, so she will be looking at a lot of crit damage, and obviously we'll build her with crit rate and crit damage. Now her ultimate doesn't really matter. She will strike enemy 3 times, dealing cold damage and 50% chance to gain 1 stack of ice crystal. This doesn't really matter, her damage is coming through this. So what does her artifact does? Well, Helm of the Frostbirds, where Beldelle will deal 60% more Runaway Storm damage, and also increase the percentage of crit damage converted into mortal wound by 60% for Frost Favor. So even more crit damage, more damage. This is going to be a mandatory artifact for her, because it also grants her crit rate on top of the attack. So that's what Beldelle is, and Beldelle is going to be a powerhouse. Now let's have a quick look at what Ice Blast talents will be available to Beldelle, and we'll only go with her exclusive 3 first. So I start from the beginning. So I don't have access to all of them, I believe, but let's give her just a tiny bit so we can read through. Okay, so we get attack, and then we have this damage synergy. So she gains 2000 HP in damage aura. All allies deal 6% more damage. The aura effect doubles for the hero. And aura effects of the same time do not count. So if we want to go the road of exclusive artifacts, we'll be looking at this Blessing of Might. When dealing damage with battle skill, the hero gains 1% attack up to 10 stacks. So we're looking at 10% attack up. So since I have this, let's choose that. I have this resources here, so that's good. Icy Lock. After casting a battle skill, if ice crystal stacks are at 0, gains 1 additional stack of ice crystals. This will never happen if you have heroes such as Shina here, okay? This will never happen. Then we have Escalon Blessing. After casting the ultimate skill, the next free battle skill's cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds. This does not matter as long as we have crystals, because we will be casting that battle skill constantly. Just to confirm, is that right? Deals, okay, so this passive here, consume 1 stack and cast the skill again, right? So that's why these two don't really matter. So let's have a look at the last one. A battle skill consumes 2 stacks of ice crystals each time. Now that makes sense. If 2 stacks of ice crystals are successfully consumed, this battle skill damage is increased by 200%. Wow. That's super powerful. And obviously there are 2 other trees that I'm just gonna go over quickly here so you can have a look, but I'm not gonna go in depth because those will be available for the other Ice Blast heroes. So yeah, she is going to be a powerhouse. I think she will outdamage Flora. If the meta changes and we need to bring 2 supports, she will definitely outdamage Flora, because she will do really well with 2 supports rather than Flora, who needs 3 supports that will help her to deal damage. Now, moving on to the enabler, the best enabler for those Beldelle and other damage dealers. There are also viable Ice Blast epics that will do a lot of damage, guys, and we've done it in previous seasons. They will carry you. If you don't have Flora, that will be your beaten Nastienkas and everything else. So Shina will bring attack aura to the Feymander and trial battles. Her passive, similar to Beldelle, when we get Ice Crystal, we'll cast the battle skill once again. When she gains Ice Crystal, she grants Ice Crystal to other allies, additionally grant them 2% crit rate up, which stacks to 5, so 10% crit rate up. As you can see, Beldelle is just having so much fun with all this crit rate stacking. Her battle skill that will be casting pretty much constantly will generate a frost projectile after a brief channeling and deal damage. Then it will generate an extra frost bomb for each stack of ice crystal the hero has, and each time a frost bomb hits the target, there's a 50% chance of granting 1 stack of ice crystal to an Ice Blast hero. So again, stacking these ice crystals for everyone else. And her ultimate, which we can use as a Witch's Remain applier, continuously casts the spell for 6 seconds. And every half a second she'll deal damage, which means we have 12 chances to apply Witch's Remain, with a 50% chance of granting 1 stack of crystal to all Ice Blast allies, which goes to 75%, so a huge upkeep there. So she is a powerful enabler, and she can also be built as damage dealer, and this is the choice of the talents we have for her. So obviously we will be looking for something that can help us to produce even more ice crystals if it's needed, or boost damage based on the ice crystals, because she has a solid damage. And now Zorak. Zorak wasn't the greatest hero in the previous version of the game. However, in this version, he's apparently pretty good. So he's passive. When an ally casts a spell that consumes ice crystal, which will be all the battle skills constantly, the hero fires an icicle at the current target, dealing cold damage based on attack this time, and gaining 1 stack of crit rate up, which is 3% for 10 seconds, up to 10 stacks. So that's 30% crit rate up for this guy. The hero also has a 35% chance of gaining 1 stack of ice crystals. So this will be how Zorak gets ice crystals for himself. But he is a very powerful support, and with Beldelle in your team, that's all the damage you need, like with Flora. You want everyone else to supplement her in a way. So his battle skill, which he will be casting constantly if we have Shina in the team, fires an icicle at enemy, dealing 360% cold damage and consume all of the hero's ice crystals, which can be 5. Every stack of ice crystal consumed launches an additional icicle, dealing 360. So if he consumes 5, you're looking at 5 times 360% extra attack. That is almost 2000 attack per battle skill if you can keep these 5 ice crystals. And now imagine that we are also he generates an ice crystal, 35% chance that goes to 50% when this triggers. So that's powerful. So I'll do obviously all the tests against like temporal vortex, etc. once I unlock temporal vortex 3 or something. Grants 30% damage up 30%. That's huge. That's a powerful buff in the game to all Ice Blast allies for 10 seconds, with a 100% chance of granting them 1 stack of crystal. Okay, that's fine. Meanwhile, all Ice Blast allies gain the effect of Zorak's passive skill for 10 seconds, which means they will fire an icicle and they will get the crit rate up. You see in that, Beldelle is getting more crit rate, which transfers into crit damage at triple or quadruple evaluation here. And now also, the only thing is that except for the hero, other allies cannot gain ice crystals by casting icicles. So they can't get this bit, but they can get all of that. So that's amazing. That's a powerful buffer here. That's what you need. Now, obviously, except Beldelle, there are other damage dealers, but before we go there, we're going to have a look at what kind of talents he's got. He might have a little bit different talents than Shina, but I don't believe so. If we have a quick look, looks pretty much the same. So there are epic damage dealers as well. If you remember, Gerfen was the MVP for free-to-play players. She is doing very similar damage to Beldelle without Beldelle's exclusive artifact. So when she has ice crystals, she will cast a battle skill and consume it to cast it again, and upon obtaining ice crystals, she will gain 15% crit damage up for 5 seconds, which stacks 5 times. So looking at 75% crit damage. With Shina, you're gonna have that constantly. Now her battle skill does the main damage, right? Strikes enemy twice, dealing damage. Then the hero gains 20% crit rate up for 5 seconds. So that's 20% crit. Gain 1 stack of ice crystal immediately if the skill kills enemy, which will not happen in most PvE cases. And her battle skill will jump towards an enemy, dealing damage and gaining 1 stack of crystal. As I said, this ultimate will not matter much, but it is on very low cooldown. So that will generate extra crystals. Now, if we look at the talents, they're pretty much same for all of the Ice Blast heroes, so I will stop showing them. Now, Nadia is the range version of Gerfen, and she will eventually outdamage Gerfen, and people will move towards Nadia. I'm not sure if she's obtainable through the Feymander. This season, probably she is, so you might not be able to summon her, but you will eventually start using her because she also increases the crit damage of all allies in all battles. Very powerful aura, especially for team that is based on crit rate. If the hero possesses ice crystals, she will do the battle skill once again, and when possessing 3 and above stacks of ice crystal, skills released will have additional effects. So we're gonna read through these effects now. So her battle skill main damage will come dealing attack damage to an enemy, and every stack of ice crystal on the hero increases the damage dealt by 10%, so 50% increase. However, additional effect when she's got 3 icicles or ice crystals, additionally deals 4% target max HP cold damage, no more than 200% of her hero attack. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a really low value, as we know this in Fury is not that great. Now her ultimate will throw a AoE Yeah, keep that in mind. It's another AoE to deal damage, and then upon hitting each enemy, the hero has 30% chance to gain additional ice crystal. But additional effect, when she's got 3 already on her, she'll gain 50% attack up. And just to confirm, the talents are the same. So those will be your main damage dealers, but that's not all of it. See, we have a support that will and can replace Shina, not ideally, because he will not be as strong as Shina when applying it. And I'm just gonna put those guys in just to show you them in this window here. But Beldelle was also a very good hero for the free-to-play players who don't have Shina, because similar to all Ice Blast team heroes, he will cast a battle skill once again. But when the hero skill triggers a critical hit, there's a 20% chance of granting 1 stack to the ice crystal to 1 Ice Blast ally. So this is quite important, because this will be one of the ways to generate ice crystals for other heroes, because remember, when the skill triggers a crit and will be casting this constantly, he will be striking the enemy twice, dealing damage with additional 20% chance of triggering a crit hit. So he already has 20% crit here, so you can build him with 80%. But obviously, if you have other buffers, you even need less. And remember, for the first 5 minutes of the fight, you also have a higher chance of generating ice crystals, so that's all good. Now, his ultimate is also good because it grants him 20% attack up for 10 seconds and 2 stacks of Ice Crystal to him and the Ice Blast ally with the highest attack. So in your case, that will be Beldelle or Najarin, depending who you get, and dealing damage with additional 20% chance of triggering a critical hit. So it's easier for him to hit with crits. Now, someone who was overlooked in a previous version of the game, but sometimes could outdamage both Naja and Garfen, and that was Nord, a rare hero that works in very similar fashion to any other Ice Blast hero. But however, when he deals damage, he has a 20% chance of granting 1 stack of Ice Crystal to the Ice Blast ally with the highest attack other than himself. So he doesn't need to crit to do that. You see here, he doesn't need the crit. He can easily apply these crystals, and the chance goes up, yeah, to 30%. He strikes enemy twice, dealing quite a lot of damage here through his battle skill, and his ultimate is AoE with 100% chance of gaining 1 stack of ice crystals. So he wasn't that bad. And then we have Roberta, who I don't remember using. So if she has an ice crystal, she will basically release the skill once again, so nothing spectacular here. She will shoot 2 projectiles at the enemy, dealing 150% attack damage. The skill will, however, ignore the defense of the target, and if it consumes the ice crystal, the projectile will be enhanced, dealing 180, so a little bit less damage than Nord here. And her damage will strike enemy within range 3 times, so she is able to apply Witch's Remain and chance to grant allies Witch's Remain, and these are the talents of the 2 rare heroes. So yeah, Ice Blast is definitely looking strong. I believe they will be the leading force against Temporal Vortex or any other single target content, because the way you can build Beldelle is just going to be so powerful. And obviously I'll do some tests against Temporal Vortex once I unlock level 3, because I'm level 100 here on this account, so I want to have a challenge, and I'll show you and compare it with Flora and everything else, so you can prepare and decide which heroes you want to pick. Once again, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and bye!